Metaphorical gavel.
I have a bag of potato chips.
Okay. Please be as quiet as possible since we're in a open space. Can everybody hear me at this tone?
No more.
Okay. The 16th meeting of the 12th Undergraduate Senate is called to order. We'll begin by calling the roll. Pintar, Lickstein, Hinkins,
Here.
Gale,
Here.
Rogers,
Here.
Bartow, Mays,
Here.
Hugh,
Here.
Kenna, Palmer, Conover, Grant, Deli, Smith,
Here.
Borowski, Ham,
Here.
Witzenberg,
Here.
LaFord, Wolf,
Here.
Sheehan,
Here by the cross.
Call, Majeski, Zangi, Payon. She's here. Okay. Oh, we have Kenna is here. Okay. Is there any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, the agenda will be adopted. When I move to a period of public comment, does any member of the public wish to speak this time? Can I just sit somewhere Okay, seeing no members of the public, we will move to reports from committees. Senator Lickstein, would you like to come down? The live stream is down here.
Oh, okay.
We're on the live stream.
All right.
Well, I know, but I'm not going to hear it on the live stream. Does everybody have the link I sent you? Everybody should have access to a link. That's our projector.
So I just want to report and give everyone kind of a summary on the budget process before we get to the bills, so that hopefully some questions are answered before they're up. So first, just wanted to thank Devontae, AUCC, and Student Media for all of their work that they did on helping us reach our budget negotiations. So a little bit about the process. We had all the different department heads send proposals about how much money they got last year, how they spent that money, how much money they had left over, and how much money they wanted next year and why. And the proposals had to document all of those things. If they didn't, we asked for corrections on them. And then we set up hearings with almost every department head, and if they weren't, it wasn't a choice of ours. We reached out to all of them so they could come and pitch their proposal to us. If we had any questions to that department, we can ask them right there. And those meetings were open to the public, and the finance committee sat in them. It wasn't just me. So from that point, after we did all of that, we had our first back meeting where we had the numbers originally, and this is the really important part when we're discussing the budget tonight, is originally our numbers from back that we got were extraordinarily low. So we were looking at $465,000 in change, which was an almost $50,000 budget cut for student government from the past year in the 16-17 budget. So we were able to negotiate that amount up, which was the 50%, to 53.5% due to the generosity of AUCC and Student Media. So we got up to $500,000 to $500,225, which is really appreciative because it would have been a massive cut to our departments and programs. It would have been completely gutted. However, that means that cuts had to have happened this year since it was almost $9,000 less than what we had last year. So we tried to do, our committee tried our best to make sure that those cuts were equally distributed to programs that could afford them. And then we're hoping that when real allocation happens in the fall, where we have enough rollover money to give back whatever cuts we made to those programs. In no way were any cuts made a reflection of what we how we feel about the programs. They're all extremely important to our student body. Second thing that we're going over tonight from the finance committee is the stipend bill. So just a brief overview about that too, is stipends was $69,000. We have one amendment to the bill that we sent to you guys that needs to be introduced, but hoping that passes through too. There weren't that many changes. Overall, just thank you guys for bearing with us. We know that this took longer than it has in years past because we didn't get the numbers from back till almost 3 weeks later than we did last year. So thank you for taking time out of your finals week to pass this. It's so important that all of these programs have their budget approaching the summer. So yeah, thank you.
Any questions? Seeing none, we'll move on.
Great.
We're gonna skip to, or not skip, we're gonna go on to the swearing in of the Associate Comptroller. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name, do solemnly swear
I, Laura Eustace, do solemnly swear
that I will diligently and faithfully
that I will diligently and faithfully
execute the duties and responsibilities
execute the duties and responsibilities
of the office of senior office,
of the office of Associate Comptroller,
that I will abide by the governing documents
that I will abide by the
of the student government,
of the student government,
and that I will work to my fullest abilities
and that I will work to
to promote the interests and welfare
promote the interests and welfare
of the students of American University.
of the students of American.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna move down to the new bill that I sent you a couple hours ago, Bill 1617-0. Town clerk will report the legislation by number and title.
Bill 1617-021, a bill to make all student government and student government sponsored events accessible.
Would the sponsor of the bill, Senator Piano, like to speak? Can you come down? Okay, there's been a motion, there's been a second. Is there any discussion on granting them speaking rights? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of granting speaking rights say yay. Those opposed say nay. The yeas have it. Would you like to speak? Can you come down Okay, okay. Please.
Great. All right, thank you. So over the last year, I was the director of the Diversity and Inclusion Working Group. Adam was the deputy director of Disability Services, and together we worked on a bill that would amend the vice president's bylaws to include responsibilities for making sure that SG events are more accessible. We think this is really important just because SG will host so many events throughout the year, and it's imperative that everyone on campus can attend those events and be there comfortably and feel included in the space. So this is just basically going to include some language that anytime an event is hosted on at least one piece of the advertising material, whether it's an email or flyer or a Facebook group or Facebook event, whatever it is, there has to be a point of contact, which would be the vice president, and anyone, basically he has to make himself available, he or she has to make themselves available, or if anyone who wants to participate in the event needs accommodations, they have to reach out to them.
This is a very important issue that is often overlooked on many campuses and just in general. And it's really important. And think about if you were in this position of being someone with a disability, you would want this as well. So yeah.
We also include some language that just whenever in the event planning process that the organizers consider things like certain barriers that could make spaces challenging to access. So for example, whether stairs are necessary to access a space. If you're showing videos, make sure there's closed captioning so people, if your hearing is an issue for you, that you can understand the video, whatever is being shown. Making sure that there's room between the furniture and there's paths that people can access if they're, have some type of device or in a wheelchair, something that helps them move around. So yeah, that's basically what the bill is doing.
And I don't think this should be so controversial because it sort of goes to the same line as what Senator Rajewski did last week. So I think this is just an extended version, a bit more comprehensive. And the reason why we decided to include it in the bylaws of the vice president is because I think that that way we're going to be gotten. People always have to check the bylaws. So I would encourage every senator to pass it.
Okay, are there any questions for the sponsor or speakers? Seeing none, we will move on to, wait, thank you very much. Yes. Yes, we do, thank you. So, is there a motion? Okay, was that a motion? Motion, is there a second? Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor favor of waiving for yay?
Yes.
All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. We'll move into a period of debate. Is there any discussion? Yes. Okay, who would you like to add?
Senator Grant, Senator Carver, and Senator.
Okay. I'm changing it on my Word doc, so I'm not gonna just do it. Is there a second? Okay, is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of adding co-sponsors say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. They are added. Is there any further debate on the bill? Senator Wolf.
Question, the director. Can it doesn't matter, whoever would like to respond. My understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is that in the law, in the law with which the university is required to comply with, the phrasing of reasonable accommodations, I noticed that the word reasonable doesn't appear in this. I asked them if there's any thought process behind so included, because this, my only worry is to just track the vice president to going beyond.
Yeah, well, we adopted a lot of this from the accessibility guidelines that ASAC has. Since we edited a lot of things out, we wanted to make this like really comprehensive. So if that word was cut out, that's probably why.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed.
To include the word reasonable in the second line of the section after accessibility or, and in the fifth line.
Wait, okay, so go back to the first one. I can't find that.
The second line of the section.
Okay.
After accessibility or.
Yeah.
To include the word reasonable.
Okay.
And in the fifth line, after, well, we'll make it request a reasonable.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay. Is there any discussion on the amendment to the minutes? Senator Majeski.
Additionally, a lot of people, some really like the what reasonable bias as people tend to not doing it now. They're really a little bit reasonable. So I would have to let this people justice. This thing, and it's not but not reasonable, not reasonable. Accommodation that is so in the individual roles leads to having individuals not feel that.
In that case, consent.
Without objection? Okay. Is there any other debate on the bill? Will.
I was going to commend the University Community Working Group, our hard work and research of the legislation. And I'm excited that it's a collaborative effort that we all get to assist and congratulations.
Any other debate on the bill? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, it does take 2/3. All those in favor of Bill 1617-021 say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. We'll move on now to Bill 1617-019. Proposed will report the legislation by different title.
Bill 1617-019, a bill to ratify the 2017-2018 FACT allocation.
Would the sponsor of the bill, Senator Lickstein, like to speak? Yeah.
This one. There's not much more for us to do. Essentially, this one just is us like confirming the amount that we got from back the budget advisory committee before we move on to the budget. there's no like more negotiation. So we just have to vote on this bill before we can move forward talking about the individual breakdown of our budget.
Okay, are there any questions for the sponsor?
Is this, the back allocation?
Yeah.
I actually have a question, I'm just curious, so.
Sure.
With the student, directed fund, and the student moving fund.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so is media more just offering?
Yeah, so, no. What, so like you're very familiar with the process, but just like for people who aren't, former SG president, Devontae Toriente, created an incredible fund called the Student Involvement Fund, which will take place for the first time next year for student leaders on this campus who don't get stipends, who are like so integral to our community. We want to make sure that they don't need to get another job in order to like put their time into our campus. And that like the takeoff of this is being funded by the organizations that are members of BAC, and student media offered $20,000 of their budget forward to the $10,000 that had been originally discussed to the involvement fund, which is amazing. The money is being earmarked from student media. So the way that we discussed it was that the $10,000 will be used next year, the way that it was originally discussed, and then the $20,000 that student media really generously gave us because they had such substantial rollover from last year will be placed in a account that will only be used for this fund in years to come, so that if we don't have, there's never an issue of us not having that $10,000 to put forward. So it was like really appreciative and really amazing, and BAC is still working, or like the members of BAC were still working on finalizing the how those students get selected. There's some debate over like the qualifications required on the application, but it will be up and rolling for the fall of 2017, I think is the goal. And it's really commendable, and I am like extremely proud of Monte and all the work that went into it. And I'm really glad it's taking off. Does that answer? Cool.
Any other questions? Okay, there's been a motion to waive first reading and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, vote. All those in favor of waiving first reading say yay.
Yay.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. We'll move into a period of debate. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of Bill 1617-019 say yay.
Yay.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. To Bill 1617-020, the clerk will report the legislation by number and title.
Bill 1617-020, bill for the 2017-2018 AUSG stipends.
Okay, so mine's not working, so I'm gonna use, Noah's computer to discuss it, and then we can go through it. So this year, our total allocations for stipends is $69,000. Before we move forward on this bill and the next bill, I just wanted to stress, because I kind of forgot it in my report, the importance and like necessity that we pass these bills tonight. So, because there isn't time, like there isn't another meeting. So, the stipends include all the positions listed, and there were a few changes. We also have an amendment that needs to be made. The secretary messaged me asking that we move $500 from directive to bring associate secretary up to $1,000 in stipends. So it's kind of, this stipend one's kind of self-explanatory. If anyone has questions, we can start from there.
Any questions? Can you speak up?
Sorry, I can't hear you. Oh, yeah, I could be louder. Okay. Yeah, so the amendment that we need to, or we'd like to try to make is moving $500 from directive to associate secretary to bring their stipend to $1,000. Otherwise, everything there is like what I would love to see pass in the finance committee, but yeah. Yes, and, okay, yeah.
I don't think, no, I think she said.
Oh, it will go up to 1,000.
Look at the second to the right column. That's what this year's proposed is going to be.
Sorry. Yes, Sam? Or Senator Rogers, sorry.
I was wondering if you could talk about why the stipend for staff and speaker
Yeah, so the stipends are supposed to reflect the amount of work that those individuals put into the organization, and it was felt that because we had more wiggle room with the money we were using for stipends this year, that those two positions put like an extraordinary amount of time to our school and like are here over the summer, and so putting the extra money towards them seemed appropriate.
And then clarification, I guess, could you explain to everyone, like,
Of the different.
well, who, like wrote out, who was getting the
Yeah,
stipends, that wasn't
so, like some background, first of all, the 69,000 from a completely different account, and it isn't being taken from the $500,000 we have from student activity fees for the different departments. So it's important to note that like the budget cut we took there has nothing to do with the stipends, and that money can't be crisscrossed. The stipend recommendations came from the executive board members that oversee these positions. So who are like more knowledgeable on the work that these individuals put in throughout the year. Yeah.
Okay, on
Yeah, directive is like the extra money kind of, and so we want to take 500 from that and give it to the associate secretary.
Then, just a quick question, I heard that the director was used that much this year.
This past year, yes.
So how much was it spent?
So I don't have the exact number for you, but what the thing is that money did get rolled over then. So it won't be adding this 2,500. It will like maintain. Do you know what I'm saying? And they are taking a substantial drop. They were at 5,000 last year, and we cut them by half. And now it's going to be more than half if we pass the amendment to give the 500.
Any other questions?
So could someone read the amendment?
Well, we have a
Yeah.
Yeah. So here, let me have my.
Sorry.
You're good.
Can't see.
Okay, so was there a motion to waive first reading? Is there a second? Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of waiving first reading, say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. And we'll go to creative debate. Is there a motion?
Yeah. I would like to motion the bill to increase the associate secretary's pay by $500.
Okay,
Second.
where is that money coming from?
The director.
Okay, I just want to make sure. So then director goes to 2,000.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second on the motion.
I already said.
Okay, I did hear so. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we will vote. All those in favor of the motion say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Let me just update it on my version really quick. Is there any other debate on the bill while I do this?
Great, guys.
Okay. There's no further discussion. Senator Rogers.
I move to amend the first clause where it says budget advisory committee and just leave it.
Oh,
Let me double check if that's on mine. Yes, you're correct. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor say yay.
Yay.
Those say nay. Thank you very much. Any other debate on the bill? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of Bill 16-17-020 say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Congratulations. Okay, we will move on to. Okay, we've got old business, Bill 16-17-021. This is the clerk who will report the legislation by number and title.
Bill 1617-016, a bill for the 2017-2018 AUSG budget.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna go through the reasoning behind everything. So if you can't hear me, tell me so that we hear it all, and then that way maybe questions will be clarified before debate. So just a reminder, we did take a huge cut, and we did hear out all the different departments. So, student government general, we brought down by $1,000 from last year for a $5,000 total. The reasoning behind it was that, well, first of all, we were hoping during reallocations that we would be able to give that money back to student government general, but that that money was better spent elsewhere. When capital maintenance has to be $5,000 by the bylaw, so there's nothing we can do to that category. So that's that. The travel subsidy we dropped down by $200. To clarify, because I know a lot of people don't know, the travel subsidy is used for clubs, for example, like the acapella group or things like that, who are trying to travel as an organization and need every member of that organization to go, and it's extremely expensive. So they can apply for a subsidy through here. General and vice president's events, we kept it the exact same amount. Vice president's general and vice president's events will be taking on more next year than they have in the past, because they're activating a lot of club councils that haven't been active in the past, and that's where they get their funding from. So we're trying not to cut their already very small budget in proportion to different departments in SG. So the KPU, we cut $2,000, which is not a reflection at all of the incredible work that KPU does. They went from 199 to 197 simply because we have to cut $9,000, and cutting $2,000 in a department that gets $3,000 is much more impactful than cutting $2 from a $199,000 budget. That being said, it is important to note that KPU does have a significant rollover this year because of what happened to Wonk of the Year, so I don't think it will impact their programming in the fall. The next one is Sub got 190 last year. They did an incredible job this past school year. We also cut them just for the same exact reason, that they have an $190,000 budget, not a reflection of the incredible programming that they did this school year, or the amount of students that they were able to engage. Also hoping we'd be able to give some money back to them during the reallocation. They were really wonderful in their proposals. They didn't ask for an increase at all, but to maintain at 190. So, but they said they would be able to function off of the money that we gave them, and we're really appreciative of all the work that they do. Founders Day, we kept exactly the same. So last year at initial budget time, Founders requested $75,000 and it was granted. And then I don't know how many of you remember or were present in the fall when Founders had to come back to Finance Committee and request $15,000 additional dollars from restricted, bringing them to $90,000 from SG. And that still isn't enough to cover Founders, which came to about $150,000 this year in total, and they have to find the rest of that money through co-sponsorships, and Gail Hansen gives the rest, which is, or finds the rest, which is great. Founders can't afford a cut just because they really needed the $90,000 from us to function, and we weren't able to raise them obviously $15,000 with the budget cuts we got, so we just tried to keep them exactly where they were to prevent the program from failing next year at the 125th anniversary of our school. The Women's Initiative, we cut $2,500. So they were at $20,500 last year, and now they're at $18,000. Multiple reasons for this. The first is yet again.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All those in favor say yay.
Yay.
Opposed say nay.
Thank you. So to 18,000 yet again, 20,000 is a significant budget that not a lot of departments have. So when looking at the money that we had to cut, it did come down to that department as well. Additionally, the Women's Initiative had a significant amount of money left over from their budget from last year. And so it would make sense that they would be able to request that during reallocations, given it was around $10,000 that they had left over. The cut, for 2000, again, like every other department, is not a reflection of the programming that they do on this campus or the way we feel about it. They do incredible work. DOPAR went from $45,019.50 to $3,700. The reason for that cut, and it was discussed with the secretary, was because capital maintenance had to be raised $1,000 in the bylaws. So that money came directly from DOPAR to go to capital maintenance as to not affect another program in student government. And that was like discussed between the finance committee, myself, it was between me and Chris. And so hopefully those numbers aren't an issue to you guys, since like the departments that will be managing them are okay with it, the way that that was divided. Then CASE, which was previously the Student Advocacy Center, got an increase of $250 to $1,000. So to explain that to everyone, their proposal asked for a double budget of what they had last year, expressing how like the rebranding of CASE, the amount of students they served this year were so much higher that they're providing advocacy and support and resources to an incredibly increased amount of students than they were in the past, and the need for more resources. So we upped them a little bit. Then lastly, the Community Service Coalition got $250. The Community Service Coalition did not receive any funding in the past and fell under the Vice President's cabinet. Both the incoming Vice President, the current Vice President Solomon, and the past President, or past Vice President Sam, and the past and current Community Service Coalition chairs expressed the need for this fund. They requested $500. We simply didn't have it. I spoke extensively with the incoming Community Service Coalition chair, who believes that the $250 will be a really great starting point for them to make sure that that coalition gets more developed on campus. That was the reasoning behind our numbers. It comes out to $500,225, which is the exact amount of money we have to spend. So yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Okay, moving to period state. Wow. Okay, is there any discussion on the bill?
Good job, Liz.
Okay, seeing none, we will vote. All those in favor of Bill 1617-016 say yay.
Yay.
Those say nay. Ayes have it. We have Okay, we will now public wish to speak this time. Seeing none, we'll move to go to the order. Does anybody have anything for good to Senator Hand. Senator Leon.
And I appreciate it. I hope you guys see you guys as well, and for keep in touch. Have a great summer, everybody. I will see you guys.
Senator Livingston.
Thank you all for coming back to the event this weekly. And I hope everyone really this summer. And it's been like a pleasure this semester. We're all incredible leaders.
Senator Wood.
Badly, I wanted to do my last remarks in the order as the last ones I made. I want to take a moment to encourage everybody to attend the town hall that President Johnson is to hold tomorrow at 2 p.m. at MGC 25 to discuss the next steps for the safety community, clear timeline for bicycles on this campus, and symbolizing resources for students, and to encourage folks in their own networks to attend the event as well.
Anybody else for good of the order? Okay, then for my last time, I declare this meeting adjourned.